What job did you dream of when you were a kid?
I surely want to become a bus driver because I think it's just an amazing job to drive around this huge vehicle around the city, in particular like the big ones here in Zurich.
And what job do you do now?
I'm working in construction design for my dad, so I'm currently trying to find another job because I just finished my studies, international business.
So you're not upset that you didn't become a bus driver?
Absolutely not.
I mean, it's never too late.
No, I don't think so. It's gonna be my future, but well, I never know.
I think it's a pretty hard job.
It is.
Because you're sitting all day, got crazy bicyclists on the roads.
Exactly, like me,
So now you work in construction design, you said?
Exactly, construction's physics, yeah.
Explain that to me as if you were explaining it to a 5-year-old.
You have to imagine that there's like a house, and around the house there is the walls, there's the roof, there's the floor, and each floor has different walls and the windows, and all of this consumes energy, right? We have to heat house, we have to have ventilation, we have to have the floor heating, and all of that is part of construction physics. So the physics of a whole building. And if it's winter, if it's summer outside, if it's snowing, if there's a lot of wind, there's a lot of impact on a building. And what I have to do right now is to calculate everything in advance. So you have an architect who designs the whole house, all the rooms and everything, and I have to make the calculation of the house based on environmental impact, based on location where it is, how much wind is exposed to, and then we have to calculate if it complies with certain standards, the Minergie standards. That's my main job right now, really making the calculations for construction physics, if it complies with the rules, and give some help for architects to make adjustments. I hope that was simple.
I think that was pretty good. So what do you love about this job?
It's fascinating what a building includes. All the physics, all the exposure of a building to so many aspects. It's just fascinating. I was not aware of that. And the different things I learned about buildings and how energy is lost through a building and how it's consumed through a building is just so really fascinating for me. I think it's something that's really, really cool. Yeah.
What do you find challenging about the job?
Having an overview of the whole building. As you have big buildings, there are many different windows, many different heights of the floors, so you really have to have an overview of everything. You should not lose control of each individual room, because each individual room has a different consumption of energy, and if you neglect that, then you end up maybe having wrong details you submit to the state for approval, and then maybe the whole project is kind of because you mess it up.
It kind of sounds like one should study physics to be a construction designer, because it seems like it has a lot to do with materials and energy.
It is, yes. It's the physics as well, absolutely, but I think it's more about the materials. My dad, he studied architecture, so that's kind of the basis, what you have to do, and then you really go into physics of the material, of the concrete, of the wood, and how it harmonizes together.
So what do you think is the biggest challenge the workforce in that industry faces today?
I think there's a lot of monotonous work. It's a lot of work that can maybe be optimized. That's something I realize right now and something I'm trying to work on right now. It's a lot of repetition sometimes as well. You can really avoid that by trying to find digital ways to help you make you more efficient and also more reliable at the end, because you're going to make mistakes. The more you measure, the more mistakes you can do, and if your machine helps you, then it's definitely going to be easier. Yeah. I think it's the biggest challenge is to really have to focus all day on having the right measurements, the right overview.
What part of your job costs you the most energy?
I think really my energy that goes all day into the measurement is that I don't have social interactions. I'm lacking social interactions, but I don't go to meetings. I don't have like these very long, intense discussions because I can't contribute from my side, because I'm still a learner. I have to learn everything from scratch. I think that's something I'm missing that gives me the energy during the job when I have these social interactions, but I'm currently missing a bit. Yeah.
Would you say you're more of an extrovert or an introvert?
Rather extrovert.
Extroverts famously get their energy from being around people.
Yes,
right?
Absolutely.
And it sounds like you're doing a lot of kind of deep, focused work. I prefer that type of work, personally.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but to each their own. It also took me a long time to learn that I actually prefer that type of work. When I joined the workforce, I was really looking for very sociable jobs as well. I worked in sales for a long time, but I found that it was too much social interaction, because after COVID especially, you kind of have these like 30-minute calls every day, and I was missing the deep work. Grass isn't always green.
It is, and I think maybe just right now, because I'm a very social person and I'm just compensating this with my friends.
If money weren't a question, what job or work would you do?
I think I would love to be an international tourist guide. Not just like focusing on one area, but more like taking people to really amazing and stunning places. I guess that would be a dream job for me. Yeah.
And what's stopping you from doing that?
It's not that well paid and it's all usually located at only just one specific area, one region, or just one city or just one sightseeing. And I think it doesn't really exist to have this variety of different countries, different cultures, you know. So not only the tourists are getting to know the country or the culture, but also me. And I think that doesn't exist right now.
I think you could do it if you wanted to.
Yeah, I think so.
So do you know what job you want to do after this?
I'm planning to go into consulting. It's more about digitalization, digital transformation. That's something I really want to focus in my future. Every company has to transform. The market is tough.
It is a tough market at the moment, especially for tech jobs. I'm hearing a lot about layoffs. A lot of companies have hiring freezes. The consulting world overall, I think, is a tough world to be in. You will join a workforce with 15-hour days and crazy stuff like that.
Yeah.
You sure you want that for
I
yourself?
will say. I definitely want to have something that has a lot of social interactions with people, hopefully internationally, because I studied international business. I think that's the main focus. And of course, consulting is offering a lot of this social contact, you know, because you work a lot with the client. But on the other hand, as you say, there's a lot long work days.
Would you look at the big four?
Well, more niche, more Swiss companies. They're very cool consulting companies, Swiss, or Europe dominated, much smaller workforce.
If you had to pick your favorite consulting company and shout out to them and say, hey, I'm Thierry, let's have a chat, who would you pick?
Right now, with my education, I would say Iraneos. It's a very nice consulting group, super nice company, not too big, very down to earth, the people.
What is your life advice for the next generation?
I think something that I really learned in the last few years is don't judge people. We always judge people, and I know it's kind of difficult to avoid it, but when you get to know someone, there's so much in a person that you don't see at the first sight. And I got to know the most amazing people because I overcame this judgment, right? And I saw amazing characters that have been revealed after a certain time, after they got my trust, after I got their trust. And I think really this judgment brought me to the point where I was able to make connections with people that I usually, I guess, I wouldn't have made. And get out of your comfort zone and try everything. There is no time wasted. I heard that very often from people, I wasted my time because I did the wrong studies. It's not the wrong studies for 1 year. It's you needed 1 more year to find out what you really want. Even if it's crazy and all your friends, your family say it's outrageous, I would never do that. I would never do that. Take that and make it work. It's the whole experience at the end of their life that you're gonna gather. 20 to 30 years is the time you gotta experience everything.
Life is a box of chocolates.
It is.